guesses? I think, everybody should just say hi all at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Hi.
Oh, that's so sweet. How are you guys up there?
We're good.
Yeah, good. We had this show last night. And we were all up till 6 or something. It was late night, but.
And what was the show, you guys? Tell us about what show happened.
Yeah, it was Janelle's show. Oh,
Janelle. Hey, Janelle. You're being so shy, Janelle. How come?
Yeah,
I don't have any makeup on.
She doesn't have her eyebrows on yet.
It was Mikey and Janelle and me, and
Yeah,
we did a full moon.
This is my friend. This is my friend Michael.
The hermit, and he was a duck.
Are you guys all
we had some hooks in people? And then Janelle had some hooks in her also. I did all the piercing last night. Me and Dustin made all the music. It was
bloody.
Yeah, it was a little bloody. Like you do.
What was the music that you were making? Is that the side? What was it called again? The side street?
No, it was all just like modular stuff, all for
Excellent.
all for Janelle. Yeah, it was like real droney, scary kinds of music. Had this script. You're like following the script, and then we're like just trying to make like descriptive sounds to the music. I recorded a bunch of stuff ahead of time, and then me and Dustin added a lot of stuff over the bed tracks live. And then a few times that we were like faded everything out, and it all just like worked out live really well.
It was wonderful.
It was also, this is how I first met Matthew, was at the Core show in Vegas.
Yeah, that's yeah. You were part of that show, weren't you?
No,
you weren't on that show.
You were on that show.
There it is.
Oh shoot!
Swing Surf Sideshow. There's fucking genocide.
Yeah.
Oh man, epic! 10 years ago, Kevin. 10 years ago.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a fun time that night. And look, you guys had to change venues because House of Blues thought it was going to be too crazy.
Yeah, that's the Christian, man.
Then,
Ian. Oh my God.
That's Rihanna dancing there. Believe it or not.
And
I met Rihanna.
Yeah.
You guys know that I met Rihanna that night there?
Yes, that's what he was telling us.
Yeah, I was like, there's a connection with the hook suspension stuff with Kevin.
Yeah, that is a keeper right there.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this recently because I had that DJ gig in Vegas last weekend, and I think we were texting about doing this interview thing, and you were like, man, there's just like Vegas hook suspension history, between us. I was like, yes, there is. That looks like Marlo.
Is that you with Jane's Addiction up here?
Yeah. I think I'm probably on the girl that's got the darker hair. That's Marlo. I think I was on the rigging team for that. That looks like.
Oh yeah, that is.
I don't know what show is that. I'm probably holding the rope with another friend of mine, Matt Brawley, on that one, and Steve Truitt.
And didn't you guys do one for Jimmy Kimmel? Is like the first time that was ever on TV?
Yeah, I was on that. Yeah, I was on that rig, and yeah, it was. And Dave Navarro was really cool, man, because some TV exec was like, "We can't have blood and hooks on television," and that's like 30 minutes before the show, and Dave was like, "Fuck you, we're not performing." Like, yeah, he fucking like laid it down. Like, he was like, okay, we're not doing it. And he got the rest of the band to do it. Yes!
Nice.
That was my first show with Skinny Puppy playing guitar.
Oh, look at those.
That was up.
cheekbones.
Yeah, that was up. Yeah. I'm doing the old cold steel there,
You
man.
guys are trying to out steal each other in that one.
Yeah, that was last weekend. Are we live right now?
Really? Yeah, we're live.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is hanging out with Skinny Puppy. Well, dude, it was so much fun doing a show last night because, like, performing and making live music is so much fun because all the shenanigans and bullshit other than doing the show, setting up, tearing down. It's just time you spend with people, And I was hanging out with Dustin last night. He's like, man, I will never take this for granted, man. This is fucking great.
Yeah.
What was the event called last night? What was it about?
So it's my husband and I, we have a promoter duo, we're La Magia, and we basically integrate magic, ritual performance with electronic music. So we will invite live electronic acts, possibly DJs, and then, ritual performance troupe, that's our shtick. We're quarterly, and, maybe we can talk shop at some point because we would love to invite you.
I met my wife's at the one, so it's not a bad thing to attend.
And so You're friends with Enrique. We're good friends with Enrique as well. I'm at work.
Yeah, he just made the last music video for Enrique.
Yeah, I did a fractal animation for one of his recent music videos.
So can you guys tell me, how does that hurt?
Quite a bit.
Hurts like hell, man. Hurts
It hurts
like hell.
so good.
It hurts like hell. Let's see.
But pain does not
gotta-
equal suffering.
Yeah, she's got her. Here's her little. Here's the little band-aids I put in last night. So I put a hook right through there last night, and she was doing a pull.
Both, yeah.
And then Janelle's got some. I promise it's G-rated. There's on it. So that's where the hooks went through, and then she was pulling Noelle out on stage. Noelle's getting pulled by her arms, and she was dragging her out.
Dragging.
Yeah, she's got some on her back too.
We put a new meaning to drag last
You got all the
night.
stuff on. Yeah, I got a different kind of drag.
I don't even know where they are. Somewhere.
Oh, the way up high. So she had hooks up here also.
How's the healing on that? Does it go pretty quick?
Yeah, good.
Few days,
Like
yeah.
a week or so.
A few days. It depends how hard you're pulling, And last night wasn't a crazy hard pull. We weren't like lifting people up off the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, like me and Dustin working together doing these puppy shows. It's like it gets a little gnarly, but it's nothing like the hook suspension shows because there's tech, there's bio, there's piercing involved, and then everything else is doing a show. So it's like, man, doing the hook suspension stuff really prepared us for anything else because it's not going to be as bad.
That's true.
Yeah, it's
Matthew, do you also do the suspension?
I have never publicly though, never for like a show or anything. I've done some privates. I've done a couple in the chest, some in the stomach, and then 4 in the back.
I've heard about your
on his privates.
He's my friend.
What's the hardest one to endure?
I did a 2-point chest, and that was pretty intense, man. That was my second suspension. That was pretty good. But
That's a tough one.
what do you guys think?
We should ask you guys, Janelle. We should ask you. You are the pro.
Yeah.
Not that you want all the pros, but you're known for what you do. What's the most difficult for one for you to endure?
Scorpion, because it's such an intense back bend. So it's not even the hooks. It's my spine that doesn't bend that way. So when it's a really bendy position, and you're not a bendy person, that can be very painful.
So I think that's where you're kind of like your belly's facing the ground and your body's sort of arched up like this.
Yeah,
So,
your knees are over your head, pretty much.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The suspension, I kind of want to see.
Yeah, I just did. The suspension is. I was overwhelmed that night when I finally saw the event that you guys put on. How
Yeah, dude.
beautiful it was. I mean, it was like a pageant.
Yeah. Yeah, it had like scenes. I remember we had like different scenes. I think that was one of the first times I ever talked to you. It was like, because I had this like Wacom tablet that I'd hacked and I was making music with it. And I was like, yo, Kevin Key's going to be here. Hey, Kevin, look at my thing. And you were like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, that's cool. And then there's like upstairs, I think you kind of looked around. It's like, wow, I'm going to go be in the green room.
Yeah,
But
well,
real good feedback from that show from you, man. I remember like the debrief afterwards. It was great.
And then he met his girl, right?
Yeah, that's what. Then there's Rihanna. Like what the fuck, man? That turned out to be a big night, Kevin.
it was, and I really loved everybody I met. Like I remember I didn't know Matt yet, but I was wondering who is this cool guy making this music and
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I met you. You met Rihanna. A big night, Kevin. It was a big night, man.
and of course I know Janelle, so it's like I'm gonna know all you guys now, and big up to all you guys and Steve Joyner and all that crew.
Yeah.
I've known you since I was 20 years old, Kevin.
What's that?
I've known you since I was 20 years old.
That's right.
17 years now.
Yeah.
Only, what,
I got
only like what, 24 now or something?
Man, weird how time passes like that.
It is, isn't it? Time has gone by a little bit too fast.
Yeah. Well, I remember you and I were talking about, 10 years ago, you meeting Rihanna and that core show. And you're like, that was 10 years ago, man. It's like, geez, you do that 5-6 times and that's your whole life as an adult. And it was like, damn, Kevin's getting real serious on me right now. But you're right, man. It's like, geez,
Thank you
time
for letting us
passes.
barge. I'm gonna go pee.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
I want to tell you, I love Resonance so much. It is a really special album. So, thank you for that. Thank you for keeping it going and keeping up the talent.
Hey, we got to have a big get together sometime after all this COVID mess
Oh,
ends.
oh,
Yes,
yes,
the Rills.
Yeah, Kevin, the craziest house party I've ever been to in my entire life was at her house in Bakersfield. Okay, so if you
Good old Bakersfield,
you should bring Kevin
California.
to. I mean, it was insane, Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
like fire breathers. I mean, it was insane, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's because there's nothing better to do there.
It's because that's the thing happened in Bakersfield.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Nice puppy.
All right,
Thank
good
you,
luck.
Kevin.
Oh yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
Oh god.
Matt, I got to show you what I saw today. You're not going to believe this. Well, I gotta- it's too funny for words. We were at this cafe just having lunch before this chat.
Yeah.
There was this guy that I gotta say, I've never seen this fashion before.
Oh jeez.
And I gotta say, I don't know if this is a new fashion or what.
This could be anything. Wow. Oh my god, dude.
I was sitting in a restaurant.
You took that picture?
Actually, Rihanna's brother did,
Okay.
but we got it from afar. Those were $100 bills up his nose, and a big stack of hundreds on his head there. And I just don't get it. Do you?
Are his eyes even open? He looks like he's
Do you get it?
um,
I thought you'd appreciate it.
I appreciate it, but I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I thought, it was a nice way to start the day, though.
I mean, you don't really have to use drugs, you just got to look around
That's true,
for shit like that.
So you're up there in Oakland right now, and normally you've been cavorting around quite a bit lately.
Yeah, I kind of landed back in LA a couple months ago, so I'm like based back in Southern California, but had this little show, came up here, man, so here I am. Ready now.
And then you're back down here?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Tonight or tomorrow. No one's on a real tight schedule. Oh, a glitch out? We okay?
Yeah, you glitched out a little bit.
Yeah, so we back now? Let's
we are.
see here.
We're okay. So you ready to get back out and do some of this?
Absolutely, man. Yes.
You know what I can see there? Is that not that guy that used to be? Oh, I hated that guy.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
that-
Oh,
that-
yeah.
that White House guy.
Yeah, Dustin would know. He hang on, let me take a picture and send it to him right now.
He was uber. He was like one of the more annoying aspects of the last year or so. But
Oh yeah.
you guys built that pyramid. and
Oh
had-
yeah, the triangle screen. I built that. Yeah, I built that. And then me and Ogre, when we were like designing it, we had this terrible idea to make everything out of sacred geometry. Like all the pieces and all the parts were all sacred geometry stuff. And I made everything out of it was all electrical conduit and parts from Home Depot. And I did that instead of getting something like custom fabricated, because if we broke something in Europe, we can go to a hardware store in Budapest and fix it,
Right.
And end of the tour, because Dustin was the stage manager and he had to like deal with all that stuff. At the end of the tour, Dustin was like, dude, I got to tell you something. The only thing that didn't break was that screen. That was like the best compliment I think I've ever gotten.
That is.
Oh my God.
That's something to be proud of, especially with the things your shit goes through on tour. There's Dustin right there on the corner. You can see him.
Oh yeah. He's doing the video mixing right there. Okay, I'm gonna ask him, who is this guy? Who is this guy on the screen?
It's safe to say. I mean, you're a pretty talented dude, Matthew.
Thank you, Kevin. That's at your house. Oh my God. Look how clean my guitar is. My guitar is all covered in shit right now, man.
Does that say ooze on your guitar?
Yeah, that was my old band when I first moved to California. I met this guy, Omen. He died recently, man. Omen. He was the original drummer for Bile in New York. He did Techno Horror and Suck Pump. and he had this project called Ooze, and I used to build guitars for a living. I built that guitar out of like spare stuff, but the Ooze glows in the dark because sometimes on stage, like between songs, they like black out the lights and you can't see anything. You're standing in the dark, like ready to play the next song. So I made those glow in the dark things. They're made out of like stars that you like glue on the ceiling in like a kid's room. That's what they are. I just made them out of that.
I just think it's really cool that you're a qualified luthier.
Never the easiest thing, Kevin. I can't do the easiest thing. I just like okay, here's a good example. Last weekend I had this DJ gig in Vegas. It was super funny. Yes, that changed the whole day. I wore that thing the whole fucking day. Oh my God, dude. That was in Pomona at the Fox Theater, and like my first tour was Skinny Puppy. And then I don't know where we had like a whole pack of mustaches. Everyone got a mustache.
That was great.
The thing about yours looks oddly natural. It's like,
looks all right.
Real or fake?
That look good. You kind of look like the guy from Three Teeth with a mustache like that.
Yeah, the old dick pillow, right?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yep.
So the crew's missing the idea of playing live again.
Yeah,
and the concept even. What do you think's going to happen? Do you see that this last weekend in New York, they're starting to shut down again? In Paris, I guess you've heard they're starting to shut down in Paris again.
Yeah, Berlin too. Berlin's getting hammered right now, man.
Berlin. It's we want to get back into producing these shows. Well,
yeah, absolutely, man.
But man, it's
there's no precedent. It's such a crazy time. I don't see even with like these variants coming out, and in our community of people, a lot of people are vaccinated and a lot of people are being safe. But I don't see a full shutdown happening. I was talking to John, the guy who runs Das Bunker. I was talking to John about that because I did a show with Kenga at the end of August, early September. And I was talking to John, and he's a promoter, I was like, man, you're the guy really taking the risk on this. And he was like, man, he had some really good advice on what he thinks is going to happen in the future. He said, it's going to kind of oscillate, like back and forth with these like smaller, venues closing and, like curfews and stuff like that. He had a full shutdown happening because the financial people are moving ahead. It's like there's on the boats, there's stuff on the trains. And he was like the finance people, like where they're parking their money is they're smarter than you are. Like that's what's going to happen. And he was like, they're not prepping for a full shutdown. So he's like, so I move forward with the shows. When I see like the financial people who are like paying for the trains and paying for the shipping, he's like, when they shut down, I'm going to shut down. But otherwise, he just moves forward and then follows the CDC guidelines. So I don't know. There's no precedent for this. I'm hopeful. Of course, we're hopeful. And like, smaller things are happening and there are some bigger things happening, but I don't have a crystal ball, man.
I think he was pretty proactive on wanting to get open and kind of opened. John's was really like seemingly one of the hopefuls that ran out there and said, it's coming. We're going to open. But like then you have some other people that like, can you imagine within a span of less than 6 months from now that everyone will be able to rush over to Europe and enter a country without having the problem being of a quarantine, and then rush down to a big show where there's going to be like 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about crossing a few borders during that time too.
Yeah.
So for instance, we land in the UK and then we're going to go down to France. Isn't there some sort of quarantine between those two countries?
Right now, I don't know, but the problem is Brexit there too, because the Brexit thing, that's starting to percolate also, like the results of that are like, a current like Corona quarantine between France and the UK. I don't know that one right now, man. I'd have to talk to in France about it.
So we were thinking that in the case where like, okay, if someone's going to go do a few shows, let's say we're supposed to go do a show in France and then the next day in Belgium.
Yeah.
So maybe there isn't any current restrictions between crossing the border and doing that. Maybe somebody on the side here can check in and let us know if that is the case.
Yeah, I mean,
We're here now when you need them.
Yeah, right. We've all made that drive, and there's no like check crossing there. There is on the UK side. Yeah. So
I'm a little bit concerned right now. I mean, I have to say that within the US, I can see it being a little bit easier and easier to maintain. But once you start traveling across borders and doing that sort of thing, and then you got to take a financial risk as well.
Yeah.
Like you're going to bank like the 5-day quarantine.
Yeah.
If there is one, right?
Yeah.
For your whole crew.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something that
yeah. Or like going up to Canada, like from the States to Canada. That's a big border crossing, man. Both ways. It's like I've heard of bands like a Mayhem Festival. This was in Vegas in August. Kanga played that one. I wasn't on that show, but I was watching that, and it was a big festival, man. And this was, August was kind of a different climate than it is now.
It is.
They're not Live Nation. Psycho Vegas is their own entity, so they took the risk on themselves, and they won because it was the only thing happening, and people went. But a bunch of the headliners had to cancel because they could come to the States, but then they couldn't get back to Norway or Germany or wherever the hell they were from. It's like they were like, oh, I don't want to stay in the States for 3 weeks or go to Mexico for 2 weeks and then come back home. It doesn't make sense. It all comes down to finances, unfortunately. Like I have people a friend of mine from Finland's in LA right now, and she had to go to Mexico for 2 weeks, and then because she couldn't cross, she couldn't stay, so they have to do all this like maneuvering, to stay for a while. Like it's like you can't do that on a tour, man. You can't like go somewhere for a couple of weeks and hang out just to enter the country. And that's what I see happening in the UK right now. Like a couple of musician friends of mine in LA, they either lost tours or it was too expensive to bring them to the UK because they had to quarantine for 2 weeks in a state-sponsored hotel that you pay for, and it's like you can't do that, man. Yeah, it doesn't work.
What's harder though is that here we are in the position where we know we got to get ready to do something like that.
Yeah.
And so we start to prepare, and you don't know whether or not if you're preparing for something that can actually happen. Like you get that feeling like that you're preparing for something that you're like, wow, God, I wonder if this will even go down. I kind of feel sorry for Tool having to start.
Yeah, man.
Like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Right in the midst of when all this stuff is like is going crazy, and they're big shows too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people involved with those, man.
And a lot of people, and then they were the band that was on tour the last time when they were told, nope, you can't continue your tour. You've got to stop right now and go home.
Yeah, mid-tour.
It might happen again.
Yeah.
I hate to think that, man. That would be.
Yeah, that's a real kick to the nuts, man. It's like, I remember before shutdown happened, Mark Thwaite, my friend Mark Thwaite, he's a guitar player. He's a super awesome guy. He was out with, he was on with Lords of Acid, and they were supposed to like start the tour like the day before shutdown. Like I think their first show was in LA. The whole band was here rehearsing, and then like, the whole tour got canceled, and they flew people over from Europe, and like the whole thing was canceled like the day before or like the day of. It was just like, oh man, what's happening? That was, another lifetime. That was a year and a half ago, more than that.
It's crazy. I think Pigface, same thing. They were ramping up.
Oh yeah, well, like that Ministry tour, that's been booked 3 times.
Yeah.
They've had lineup changes, and it just keeps getting rebooked, man. It's like. Or like 9 Inch Nails this fall, they stopped playing all their shows because they're like, it's not safe right now, and that's that's their call to make too.
I also think it's weird that since I spoke to you and Justin, it's over a year. It's like
really,
that's like 14 months.
Really?
Yeah, already. And I thought like this is really weird. Like time seems to be going in such a. I don't know if it's just me or you.
It's non-linear, man. It's like a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit back here.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was 14 months ago, man.
Yeah. So you have been getting back out and doing some shows. What did you do? Any more shows with Teamer and the Dime Museum since?
Haven't done any more shows, but we did something really interesting this last year. Timor and the Dime Museum, if people don't know, it's this opera singer group. But it's kind of like punk rock opera singer group. We all went to Cal Arts together. We all went to art school together. I remember I was in the back lounge with you, Kevin, on one of the tours, and we were watching Klaus Nomi videos.
Oh yeah.
And we're still getting to know each other. We don't know everything about each other. And I was late at night, and I was like, man, I was on America's Got Talent with this opera singer and Christian Hoffman, the guy who wrote the songs for Klaus Nomi. He was playing piano for us that day, like the guy himself. It's like, I was actually on America's Got Talent. I'm embarrassed about that. It was like, but we played a Klaus Nomi song. And if I knew that Kevin Key was watching that when we were screening it, I was like, and you were like, I saw that.
I did.
That was you. I was like, yeah, you look like Frankenstein or something. I was like, yeah, we were all dressed up with these like ripped up tuxedos.
Dude, we gotta get that. We gotta get a copy of that.
Yeah, Timor has it. They pulled it, but Timor grabbed it. Anyway, what we did with Timor last year was we pivoted because we have this opera producer in New York named Beth Morrison. She makes everything happen. And we had this big Opera Philadelphia thing last year, and they were gonna, fly us out for a month and do a residency. And the opera community is different, man. You're dealing with a theater, you're on a calendar. They do all this fundraising bullshit. But then it's not like throw and go like being in a rock band where you show up that day, set up, play the show, tear it out, and leave. It's like, no, it's like a residency. You're in there for a while, and you have tech rehearsals like for a week. Kevin, could you imagine? And obviously obviously the pandemic happened, and we didn't, that didn't happen. But Opera Philadelphia gave us the money that they earmarked to do our show. And then Beth did a lot more fundraising, and we made an art film out of this like dark surrealist opera thing. It's all based on David Lynch's Black Lodge, and it's called Artaud. Yeah, it's called Artaud and the Black Lodge. Artaud is this French playwright who invented the theater of the absurd, and it's it's real dark, but it's non-linear and very strange. And they flew me out to the desert last summer to record the video parts of it, and it was insane. I can't share the images or videos because it hasn't premiered yet.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago we had a preview in New York, just a preview for the filmmakers, and I went to that, and it was unbelievably good, Kevin. And it really is so interesting because doing dark avant-garde stuff, that's a hard sell. But making it into an art film, it changed how we're doing the live show in the future, because now we're doing a live score to the movie. So instead of having costume changes and lighting notes and a bunch of other video stuff, it's just, so what that is that now we're operating under a convention. And that's easier to sell. Instead of being because opera is already kind of out there, right? And then you get dark surrealism on top of opera. It's now you're really getting out there, But if you say it's a dark surrealism opera film, and we're doing a live screening, live music to a screening, that's a convention, and people, it's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show or something like that. And we're getting a lot more gigs to other theaters and film people. Now we're in film land. So it's really helped us propel the live show forward, which I'm shocked. No one saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. And
where can people catch this show?
Man, so to be determined. Opera Philadelphia put up a lot of money for it, and they have the option on the film for the first year after it's premiered. We're in talks with the LA Philharmonic for stuff that I can't really talk about, and probably a few things in Europe. I'd like it to get onto some kind of Criterion, a kind of art house streaming network. We're working on that right now. It's just not available yet, but it was an interesting pivot to do that. And I think our producer, Beth Morrison, was real savvy on that to okay, we can't do the live show. She's never made a film before. filmmaking is expensive. She had to fundraise a lot of money to do this thing. And it benefited everything involved, like, the donors are all happy. We're getting a lot more shows out of it. It's like, shit, dude, like that's a great thing to do. So I'm like talking with Janelle, my hook suspension friend earlier, on the drive up here, the whole time I was like, Janelle, I love the live shows, but for this kind of stuff, we need to make an art film. Okay. We need to like pool our resources and just like, we need to make an art film. And so I'm like, I won't shut up about it right now, man. I'm like,
I mean, I guess, I don't know. When I first thought of suspension and stuff like that, I thought about, the whole sort of scary parts. But when you guys actually,
it's very scary.
It's like, if it isn't captured, then it's hard to express what it actually is that you end up seeing.
Yeah.
And I almost want to say it's like a human bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
Like you were,
I agree, man.
Presented with something that you don't expect. And I guess Timur in the Dime Museum, you can't really, you can't really expect. You're so flexible in the things that you work with and the direction.
Yeah, I remember you and Rihanna came and saw us at Red Cat at the Walt Disney concert. That was before I think that was the first time you saw me play guitar. Actually, was for Timur in the Dime Museum. I was really happy you guys came, man. That was cool.
Yeah, and you also play with Kanga and Ogre.
Oh yeah.
Playing with London After Midnight before. Is that you were retired now from London After Midnight?
Yeah, I walked away from the project a couple years ago, man. It's like I played with them for 11 years, had a lot of good experiences, man. Yeah, long time. Did
we ever play together with Skinny Puppy and London After Midnight with you, or no? I don't think so.
No, not with me. Back in like the early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, there was some like Orcus Festival or something like that where you guys were both on the same bill.
That's right, yeah.
Before my time. I started with LAM in 2008.
Okay.
Like I graduated art school on Friday and then left on tour on Wednesday. And that was like the beginning of my career as a
How did they find you? Did you know those guys from school or?
No. It was the old bass player, Randy. Fucking Randy Matthias. Oh, Jesus, Kevin. So how did that happen? I'd moved to LA from Montana, and I'm definitely this like inner goth kid, like just no scene in Montana. So I went to a lot of concerts. I went to a lot of clubs. I was building guitars at the time, some guitars, and I ran into this guy, Randy. He was a bass player, and he had a bunch of really shitty instruments that were always breaking. And we were friends, and so I'd fix all of his stuff. And then they were going to go out on a European tour with London After Midnight. He was their bass player, and so I did some work on him and Sean Brennan, the singer guitar player. I did some work on on both of their instruments, and I came to their rehearsal studio and like met everyone and hung out, and was like, okay, whatever, worked on their stuff. And then their guitar player, their old guitar player, Eddie, he like left the band like 2 days before they were going to go to Europe. Like they had this huge, like,
nice, huh?
Oh, that's always nice. Yeah. that's always nice. Yeah. And then Randy called me and he was like, hey, do you have a passport? It's like, yeah. It's like, okay. I was like, why? It's like, do you want to play guitar for London After Midnight? I was like, sure, fucking great. Why? What's the deal? It's like, well, we're leaving for Europe in 2 days and you have to learn the whole set and like come out and play. I was like, what? So he sends me a bunch of music. I learned it like that night, went to the rehearsal studio the next day, played a bunch of the songs with them. And I was like, okay, like I'll get it. And they couldn't they couldn't afford to take me out. They couldn't get the forward from the record company. And it was like, so they had to do it without a guitar player. Sean had to sing and play guitar for everything. I think it was kind of a rough tour. But after that, I was the guy. I was the guy after that. So I just got a phone call. It's like, hey, I've never auditioned to be in a band, Kevin.
Was that the first band that you were in that toured?
Yeah, I would say like actually toured and like, when you play a show and you don't personally know everyone in the audience, that was probably London After Midnight, because my first show was at the Tempe, the Marquee Theater in Tempe, Arizona. We were opening for Mindless Self-Indulgence and the Birthday Massacre. Great fucking tour. And then when we played there, great venue. And then when we played there with Skinny Puppy, I was like nostalgic, and I'm like playing guitar, and I was like, yeah, man, this is like level up. We're the headliner. This is great. Played this show, and I'm sure, I don't know if you remember this, but fucking Danny Carey was there. I didn't know Danny Carey was there. You probably did, because they had like a secret show there the day before or something. And so like play the show, I'm like packing up my stuff, and I look over and there's Danny Carey, and he comes, he's this huge man, and he likes hanging out with us tall guys. He just sort of like manhandles, and he comes over to me and grabs me and he shakes me. He's like, holy, spitting all over me. He's like, holy shit, Matthew, you're a great fucking guitar player. And he's like shaking me like a linebacker, and I was just like totally speechless, man. Like I had nothing to say. Yeah, but that venue, man, I got good memories at that Tempe, Arizona Marquee Theater, man.
I've got a picture of that somewhere. I wish I could have dragged that out.
Yeah, I know, man.
Of that moment, yeah.
Yeah, I could. It's on a hard drive somewhere, man. It's all on.
So what's your takeaway after leaving London After Midnight for 11 years? What's the takeaway on that?
What's the takeaway on that? I feel like I was in the band too long, because it's real stagnant, not a lot.
Did it start to feel like you were outgrowing it, or what is it that made you feel like you need to leave it?
Yeah, there was that too. It's not managed very well, like it's not managed very well, and it's very man, it wasn't working out, man. It just wasn't working out. And it was also like just a bunch of dumb stuff, like we're all pitching in to pay for the rehearsal studio 12 months a year, but we only play maybe one show a year to go play some festival, and then it was like, and then that would just like drag on forever. And then getting things done was like pulling, where I come from, there's a saying, you say, it's like pulling teeth out of a dead horse, which means it's very, very hard. Yeah. So it's like, I know that there's big London After Midnight fans. I don't want to say a bunch of bad stuff, but it was like I bailed, man. I was in the band too long. I should have like cut it short after a couple tours. But my first time playing in Mexico was with London After Midnight. Same thing with Russia. We had great shows, man, like some really good shows. And it kind of like moves you along because it's important and significant to the fans, and to be a part of that creation and music maker. It's like, like growing up in the middle of nowhere, I just had music, man. Like lifeline, and like to be a part of the community. It's like in a way you're helping people in a way, and that I really got to see some of that with playing with London After Midnight. So, I try to focus on the good things, Kevin. I really try to focus on the good parts of it.
You got to build up in steps, and you'll know what you want and stuff like that. But
yeah,
as you progressed and you worked with Indra Devi or the other stuff. With Kanga or Ogre or Skinny Puppy, how does it feel like? Hopefully it doesn't feel the same as how you feel with London After Midnight.
No, not at all.
A little more inspiring.
Oh, big time, dude. Kevin, working with you and Ogre has been such a we talked about this with Justin 14 months ago in that same interview, because like, with London After Midnight, it was sort of like, this is what you're going to play. It's like, all right, it's like, okay, I get that there are parts and things, but it was like rigid, it was real like, and then with you guys, coming in, I just felt like I got a lot of respect from you guys and a lot of like creative input. So I remember after those like first couple of rehearsals or coming over to your house and going through the parts, you and Ogre both said the same thing. You were like, so what are you playing?
Well, I liked getting together with you the way we do, and we jam together on the songs.
Oh yeah,
and
at your house,
and we check it in, and I think that's a really good system, because it doesn't say, "Hey, you got to play this." It's like, "What are you playing?" Okay, I'm playing this. You're playing.
Yeah, exactly, and dude, you and I could like really lock into some parts. Yeah, great, man. It was like, it's really good, but it's also learning. It's like, how do I work well with people as a musician? And it informs my future as a musician, like what works well, what doesn't work well, and also like, I'm not just starting out. I've put in a lot of time. I've done the 4 a.m. warehouse shows. I've done the big tours. I've done all kinds of stuff. So I'm real selective now about the things I get involved with. Like, talking with Janelle and like this group of people, like these are like the best friends I'm ever going to have, And so when Janelle asked me and Dustin to make music for it, I was like, absolutely, 100%. Yes. Like, yes, I'll do that. Like, that's a thing I want to be involved in, as opposed to, hey, we got a show, there's going to be a lighting designer. You want to come down? It's like, man, that used to be a sell for me, but like.
It's kind of interesting to point out that you started off as the Skinny Puppy stage manager.
Yeah.
And so technically we were relying on you all the time for everything. Where's Matthew? Where's Matthew? Where's Matthew? And then all of a sudden you're
a lot of that.
And so it's like, it's kind of cool that you came from Cal Arts. You got a master's degree. You're a luthier, which means he's qualified to build guitars and violins and stringed instruments.
Yeah,
that require a degree of perfection within the woodwork. And you put that all together and add Matthew on, and you got this great.
Dude.
Matthew's always in this mood, people. You got to understand.
Yeah, all good vibes, man.
Always in a good mood. So that actually, I don't think I've ever seen you in a bad mood. I've heard that you've been in a bad mood, but I didn't.
Yeah, I get real quiet and isolate. I get real quiet and I isolate. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I have to tell the story about one of the funniest things that ever happened. I don't think we told it in the last chat.
Oh geez, what did I do?
Your first gig at Amnesia Festival?
Yeah, Canada. Yep.
It was a big show. We flew out to he's laughing already. We flew out to Quebec to do a show with Ministry. Of course, it's been done. I mean, it was prophesized and done, and
yeah,
and a few other really cool bands. I think even
God, was ton of bands on there. Fear Factory and like like the main stage was what like Rob Zombie and System of a Down. I think it was a whole bunch of bands. Sublime.
But you know what? Here's my takeaway from that. All these ideas, when they make them, they sound fantastic. But you get there, and it's kind of like, okay, it was what it was, and it went by fairly regularly. But it was kind of a bit blasé, I thought. But I'm not trying to down talk that. But the funniest thing about the whole thing that made the whole trip worthwhile is that after we were all sitting back at the hotel.
Oh, you're talking about that.
Big, beautiful, sort of like loungy area with a fireplace. And Ogre and I and a few other people were there, and some people came in and they had seen that Skinny Puppy over there, I guess, and they came up and they were like, they wanted to get some things signed, and they went immediately to you, and they
went right to me. Yeah.
I mean, we didn't realize right away, but we realized after a short few minutes that they thought that you were me.
Yeah, they thought I was you, and you're sitting right there. And I was all self-conscious because I have played one show with Skinny Puppy, and then in front of Ogre and Kevin, these two yahoos come up, and they're like, I wasn't paying attention, and I just heard some gibberish, Skinny Puppy, and I said, yeah.
So
like, oh my God,
into it because
I'm like signing all this stuff.
And so he was signing it, but he's signing it Matthew, but they were like, oh man, thanks so much. And they turned and looked at Ogre and I and just gave us a glance like, oh, we saw you earlier. How you doing?
Oh, we saw you earlier. You were lost.
You were lost in the hotel, weren't you? I'm like, yeah, I found my way.
Dude, and I panicked. I fucking panicked, dude. Because I look at you and you're just like leaning forward, like eating it up, man. And Ogre is just like crying. He's laughing so hard. But you guys hung me out to fucking dry. No help, nothing. You just like let it happen. Oh my God. And then, they thought I was you. And I didn't put that together because I was like, why am I getting all this attention in front of Ogre and Kevin? And they're asking me about Skinny Puppies? Like, oh my fucking God. And then so they wanted me to start signing stuff, so I start signing stuff with my name, of course, and that's when it got weird. It just got real weird
that you didn't know, but we knew. I guess we heard the intro, but you missed the intro, so we knew. We were cracking up, and it was innocence on your behalf.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Oh, as soon as they left, Ogre was like, "You get it."
Film. That was the most Spinal Tap
Oh,
moment.
yes, it was. That's what you said. They were like, "That was an unfilmed Spinal Tap moment." Like,
What?
oh my God, dude. Well, welcome to Skinny Puppy. Like, oh,
You got it right on the initial first gig.
yeah. I thought what you were going to bring up was I missed the flight. Like we were all at the airport together, but I carried my guitar on instead of using cartage service because I had a big trip right after that show, and I was like, oh, I won't use cartage. I'll just carry my guitar on, and they wouldn't let me on the plane with it. So I had to go back into like this slow line, and I missed the flight. I was in this line for hours. Remember that? And then you guys all flew up there. This is the most important flight of my whole life, and I missed it. I waited for 13 hours at LAX. I had to take this red-eye flight, got there. Oh, my God. I remember rolling onto the back of the stage the next day. Thankfully, we didn't. You guys came up a day early, and Ken Marshall was at the stage, and I got out of the van. I was like, man, am I happy to see you? Because you had radically changed, the whole set for heavy guitar songs because you added a guitar player, It's like, dude, I have to be there. I have to be there for this.
Yeah, I think it turned out really good despite any of those challenges and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I think so, too.
The show was fun. Actually, if you look on YouTube, I think you can go and search Skinny Puppy Amnesia Festival. And there's like 5 songs online.
Oh, fantastic. Do you remember how bright those strobes were? I remember poor Justin, man. You guys are stuck. I can walk around. So I'd be about there, jamming out with Justin, and the fog would come in, and then those like strobes would come in, and they were so bright, man. It was like, I got to get out of here. And Justin's trying to stay in time with strobes in the cloud, It's like, oh.
It was like I had to close my eyes because it started to make me feel like I was spinning.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you've got fog where you can't even barely see, and then you've got the flashing, that was crazy.
That was crazy, man. That was totally crazy.
So what's your takeaway after working with Skinny Puppy then?
Dude, it's been a good gig, man. It's been really good. Had this little show last night talking to this other guy who played music last night. He had a whole bunch of synthesizers, so we're like setting up, getting to know each other, and and he's like, so what's your story, man? And it's like, oh, live in LA, do some other music stuff. He's like, oh, what else do you do? And I told him I was in Skinny Puppy, and of course that radically changes the narrative if you're talking to a synth guy. And he was like, and I just have this like canned response because people are like, wow, what's that like? And it's always like, it's a good gig, man. It's a really good gig.
You have just I guess over the last year or so really gotten into modular. Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, I took the plunge, man. I fought it forever, Kevin. I'm so glad I did the modular thing. Yeah, last night was all modular stuff. All modular.
All modular. So now you've gone from getting a modular to performing a whole set with modular.
Yep. And having unprotected modular sex, with my friends. Like I've jammed with Cyrus a couple times. Cyrus is up in Montana now. I know you interviewed him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'll bring my stuff over. It's all about like the communities, man. It's all about like getting into the communities, which is sort of like thinking about this interview with you. You're an interesting guy, Matthew. I think we should talk some more about you getting your pilot's license or working with old VWs and that sort of stuff. And I'm trying to like tie it all together because I'm such a scatterbrain. I'm always like,
I'll help you.
Yeah. But I'm really attracted to like communities, like the Volkswagen community,
right.
Motorcycle community, the modular community. That's like the musical community that I'm in right now. And the modular people, they're not like guitar players. Guitar players are kind of like guitar slingers and you're on your own. But I don't jam with guitar players, man. I'm in bands with other people. But the modular people, we get together and jam, and it's a good scene, man. It's a really healthy, creative scene. So like, I'm into it, dude. Super into it.
I was jamming with
remorse.
I was jamming with Paul Kaiju yesterday. He was up here.
Nice.
Yeah, he as well has entered the plunge of modular. So what
that poor bastard.
Thinking about your modular setup? What modules are you really digging?
Man, I got the thing. Okay, so the ones I use, I got 2 racks now. The thing I use all the time is the voltage block by Moleko. Every time I turn the thing on, that's what I use. I also don't leave anything patched. Like when I'm done fooling around, I unpatch everything. I always have a clean. I know some people.
Yeah, they like to.
Yeah, they get things all in and then they tweak forever. It's like, no, I just, so it's like voltage block. I use that vampire a lot. Your module, that thing. Yeah, dude, that thing I don't totally understand that thing, but I'm sort of like blissfully ignorant because it's all like, creative exploration, and then I use that a lot. I really like the LFO and some of the linear expand stuff on that. I got this happy nerding 8FX, this little thing that's like this multi effects thing. You have any of the happy nerding stuff? It's some crazy Ukrainian guy. Dude, it wasn't an expensive module. That thing is amazing. I use that thing to death. And then, oh yeah. But also like as a guitar player and as like, a live musician, a real pitfall I see with modular stuff is that a lot of people just use it as a black box. It's like, I can't have a black box. I need like a linear, like I can use it in with something else. So I have to have a hybrid system, So like the big module I got was that Expert Sleepers ES9, just that big, input output thing. I love that thing because I'm always multi-tracking everything. I record everything I do, and I got a Bafaco. My rack is around here somewhere. I got a Bafaco also with the, I can put a guitar input into it or a microphone input into it. And right. I use that a lot too. But it'll also do like, gate and envelope outs, but it'll switch them also. So you can do some like really, it sort of sounds like side chaining. You can do some really cool sounds. And I do a lot of internal routing with that. Oh, and I got a couple of mutables stuff. What do I have? Plates and rings, I think. Yeah, just, real average kind of, everyone has these modules, but I use them to death, man. I use them to death.
What are you sequencing? The Expert Sleepers is your main device?
Well, yeah, out of the ES9. So I'm sequencing stuff out of Ableton. I'm using like the silent, yeah, it's all DAW based stuff. Yeah. Like jamming with my friend here yesterday because I've got that Manther Growl by Moleko. Yep. I got one of those, but I don't really use it that much. I need to wrap my head around it. And my friend who you met who's like super low key and like, he's got some electron stuff in here. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't really like get this thing. He's like, okay, plug. He got some sequence going on this thing and he got that thing squealing like a pig in like 20 seconds. And I was like, holy shit, that's the way to use this thing,
Listen to the Euro version of the Moleko, what's the box called again?
Not the Varigate?
No, the box that Moleko released that is anyways, I think the Manther Growl is basically the Eurorack version of it. But yeah, it's very cool, very cool synth.
Powerful. Powerful. It's got stuff.
Did you learn the essence of modular synthesis when you're at Cal Arts from Morton Subotnick?
Yeah, I did study with Morton Subotnick. Yeah. You and I went to that Silver Apples in the Moon concert at Red Cat. Yeah, I studied with Morton, and Serge used to work at Cal Arts, and he built like a lot of his stuff at Cal Arts back in the day. James Tenney started the school with Morton Subotnick. Like there's Peter Grenader went to school there. Like it's a long history. I learned, I took synthesis classes, but I was doing everything in Max MSP, which is like kind of a software, but it does like data flow stuff, which is similar to how like the cables work on a modular synth. So yeah, I learned all like, what synthesis is and how it all works. But the real difference that I found with the modular stuff is that it's not as much pure science. It's more engineering. Like, okay, you want to do like FM synthesis or additive synthesis or whatever, and you can like plug all these things in and start, making your sounds, and you can be real, like have a lot of intent with that. And it's a lot easier to do that software based, but you come up with different sounds on the modular stuff. Like the stuff I come up with in modular land, I would never do that with a DAW or software in a million years. It just absolutely would not happen. And so I'm really embracing that the hard part about modular stuff is the really good part. And I don't want to, read all the manuals and get over technical with things. It's like, no, man, I want to like noodle around with things
did Morton leave you with a theory that you apply, or is it something that you just by experience, by being around him, you saw just to be doing a lot of fiddling?
No, I didn't get that from Morton. That's me. Subotnick, so he's very like thorough and methodical, and you got to think about the stuff that he was using. Like they invented a lot of that stuff. That crew of people, and so they were super limited. And so I think like the David Rosenbooms of the world, like they were super limited on like the oscillators and the filters and the things they had, and so they spent a lot of time sort of like getting ideas to craft their sound beforehand, and then they push that through the modular, where I'm like on the other side of it, just trying to hack the thing. I will say this about Morton. I developed that interactive microphone thing at CalArts, and you gotta get some self-confidence somewhere along the line. So we had this like show and tell day, and I brought in that interactive microphone. You can sing on it, move it around. It's got these force sensors and accelerometers in it. And this is like 2006, this is 15 years ago. And after the class, Morton was like, Morton Subotnick came up to me. He's like, that is a really good idea. You need to patent that. And he put me in touch with some developers at Line 6 that he'd worked with, and I, looked at getting a patent. It was $16,000. It's like, I don't have that. It was like, that's an unattainable amount of money at the time. But he really thought that I had good ideas, and it's nice to hear someone like Morton Subotnick tell you that,
That's for sure.
I guess in a way, Kevin, to give you a lot of credit, that's like you and Ogre, like me putting me into the skinny puppy fold with you guys asking me, it's like, so what are you doing here? It's like, that's a great sign of respect, man. And it really kind of bolsters your confidence. It's like, yeah, I got some musical things to say, man.
And also people can see that you're earning it along the way. I mean, So what happened to the interactive microphone? Where is it? Is it
it's in a box at my house.
The one-of-a-kind interactive microphone is at your house.
Yeah. I know.
I'll help you. If you need me to help you with that, I'd love to help you with that. If you need any help. You might not even need any help.
Well, it's a 15-year-old microphone. I'm interested in what you have to say with it, man.
Oh, I want to see. But
or I should put a bunch of CV outputs on the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be fucking rad.
How does this? What is musical electroencephalograph biofeedback?
That's the electroencephalograph. So at CalArts, I was doing brain music. I was doing biofeedback stuff. So me and my mentor at the time, his name is David Rosenboom. He was he's a famous guy in the music technology world. He wrote a book in the 70s called Biofeedback and the Arts. And he was really the guy that started doing biofeedback. Biofeedback means, your heart rate, they call it your galvanic skin response. That's how much you're sweating or not sweating. And you're just sort of taking scientific information from the body, and then they call it to sonify it. You sonify that. So you can do it with like your brainwave music. And he was doing stuff with alpha waves. And, you can get like a few people together that kind of get into this real alert meditative state, and that changes into your alpha waves. And that's a kind of brainwave that you can train yourself to control a little bit. So that's what he was interested in doing. I got interested in biofeedback because I'm really into sensors and like designing systems. Like I really like working with modern dancers because they have like big ideas, and you can sort of set up like a system, like a playground that they can get into and do all this stuff. And you can just use like light sensors or motion sensors or camera tracking and stuff like that. So biofeedback interests me a lot. And then I fused that with the hook suspension community. So I worked with this German guy. We were like hanging people off of hooks and reading their brain. And then the way that their brain would change when they're hanging from hooks, that was the stimulus, like a real big stimulus,
Crazy.
It was pretty crazy, man. Like, and I recorded like the brainwaves, and when you like jam a hook in somebody, like the brainwaves start to move a little bit. I was like, okay, this is interesting. That could kind of be captured and roll it back into kind of a live interactive performance, like for sure. So that's what like the interactive, like the electroencephalograph, the biofeedback stuff was. And then after CalArts, I did a few shows doing the EEG stuff, but really after that, I got more into, touring with London After Midnight and got more into like live production, you know, because like the real pitfall I see in like the avant-garde and doing real like cutting edge stuff like that is that people don't hear it, and there's not a big market for that. And it's so important to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, you know, and that's why I see like being a touring musician is very important, and like getting into some bigger fields is a very important thing, as opposed to, you know, just some nerds out of college doing cool stuff, but no one cares because you're in like the educational institution, you know? That's why I'm not a teacher. It's like, I have the credentials, but I don't want to teach. It's like, I'll go get a job as a carpenter, or I'll work as an IT guy, as some like survival gig, you know? It's like, I'm fine doing that, because as opposed to teaching, because, you know, most of my teacher friends are just miserable. You know? It's like, no, well, I also don't want to.
You're a discoverer. You're not a teacher. You're a discoverer.
Yeah, man. I don't want to ruin it. You know, I don't want to ruin it. It's like, keep it special.
Just not to skip ahead of the biofeedback thing, but is there a way that biofeedback could be used to transfer into control voltages?
Absolutely. Really. Yeah.
It starts to get interesting.
You and I should talk, Kevin. I feel like you and I should talk about stuff, because
Well, this is something that's very interesting. I think that could very well be, you know, conceptually. I mean,
yeah,
that page could go on and on and on.
Yeah, there are things to explore there. And also, like, tech available right now is a lot better than when I was developing things 15 years ago, you know? So it'll sound better. It won't be as expensive. Huge.
Yeah, someone said Dave Skywalker, Martin Atkins likes teaching. Yeah, I mean, some of the people we've met here, like Martin and Chris Brenna, Brenna's become a professor, you know.
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
Like, you know, they're acquiring like such great amount of knowledge all around in so many different fields. It's like it either stays in and you're still feeling creative, or it's got to come out somewhere else.
Yeah, you know, they're further down the line than I am. You know, those guys are head and shoulders above me. So maybe when I get there, I'll, you know, I feel like I have something to say. I guess I'm kind of just still fucking around right now.
Well, no, I mean, you're at that stage, man. I mean, you know, I'll talk to you in 15 years and see how you're doing.
Yeah, let's do that.
But, you know, nothing seems to stop you. It's like, as you were saying, it's like, you know, I don't know if it's coming back and forth from Montana and having like the peace and quiet up there to do what you want, or having a perfect mix of both. But so yeah, you recently got into flying.
Yeah, there it is.
Crazy.
Oh, that's Joe Birasak. That was in Vegas last weekend. That's
weekend, folks.
That was last weekend. Yeah, obviously I'm not. That's one of the Thunderbirds. That's the Air Force. You know, like the Air Force version of the Blue Angels.
You're not flying those yet.
But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't have the credentials to fly one of those yet. But I got a private tour of the. Yeah, that's an F-16. Yeah. So Joe, you know, he's a big fan of the skinny puppy community. Yeah, there's Joe. Joe is rad. So when I was doing my pilot training up in Alaska, he just texted me out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey man, if you're ever in Vegas, you know, I'm a jet mechanic at Nellis Air Force Base. I can come show you some stuff. There's my CFI," and that's the guy that ran the aviation school I went to. Yeah, that girl was my CFI. She was great. She was the most sane person I met in Alaska. She was great.
You just decided. You decided. I guess it was like something you were doing in honor of your dad that recently.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to like fly small airplanes and just be a pilot. Yeah, there I am in my little skinny puppy hoodie. That's me flying solo.
Would you guys get in a plane with Matthew? So tell us about it. What's the takeaway from that?
Oh, this was funny. The reason I took a picture of the U-Haul truck is because I had to go into Anchorage to take a test, and I didn't have a car. And rental cars are super expensive right now in Alaska. But there was a U-Haul truck place, so I rented a U-Haul and drove myself to Anchorage to take the test, and then I drove back.
Only $19.95, man. That's a cheap rate too.
Yeah, it was a lot more. It was more like $100. Yeah, there's Palmer. So
you went up to Alaska, and the objective was over the course of the time you were going to learn to get your pilot's license, right?
Yeah, man. So there's different levels. Yeah, that's That's what they put in. So there's like the Hobbs in, tack in. That's just like time on the airplane. Yeah, my instructors, Will, Dalton, Audrey. Audrey was the best. Oh my God, I loved her. Jeez. Because it's a lot of one-on-one. It's a lot of one-on-one training. Yeah, there it is, man.
You got it. You got a license. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's the Wright brothers on the back.
Wow. So
I know.
You can go in by yourself and just fly a plane now.
Yeah, that picture right there, that's me flying solo. That's the Matnutska Glacier. Yeah, I flew up this valley, went up the Matnutska Glacier. I saw, I'm like flying up this valley and I saw a mountain goat. There's this like big cliff and there's like one white dot on this cliff and there was no snow around there. I was like, what a weird piece of snow. So I did this like big loop, and like went back and looked at it. I was like, that's a mountain goat.
A mountain goat.
I just saw a mountain goat. Yeah, I told my CFI. CFI is a certified flight instructor. But yeah, man, it was just like, my dude. I know it was Kevin. It was insane. Like when I get more hours, I'm like more comfortable in flying different airplanes. This is my plan, dude. Like a day off, I'm going to go rent a plane and fly around. When you have a day off on tour, like a day off in Lincoln, Nebraska, it's like, hey.
What's the hardest part about flying? Is it the landing or what's the hardest parts?
The hardest part is judgment. The hardest part is judgment. Yeah, because once you can really learn how to fly a plane. It's crazy, man. It is really crazy. Like, I've logged 150 landings. Like I've done a bunch of landings.
Wow, that's enough.
Yeah, like logged. I've probably done more than that. But the thing is that all of a sudden you get, my Ray-Bans, man. But like, I just remember my landings. It's just like I wasn't sticking my landings. Yep, 522 Juliet Delta. That's my that's a 1970 Piper Cherokee 140C. That was the airplane I flew. I need to figure out how to get an airplane, Kevin. Oh yeah, defrosting.
Money?
It depends what you get, man. This plane, not super expensive, probably 50, 60 grand. 80 grand, but like, get into like a Cirrus, those are like 400, and then you can spend as much as you want. That's flying at night. We did some night flying. Dude, night flying in Alaska was real spooky because
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. We went I was in Palmer and then you come up from Palmer, kind of around the corner outside of Anchorage. Then you go up this valley up to Talkeetna, and up past Talkeetna is, I don't know where that is. That looks like that looks, oh, I'm on the ground right here. Oh yeah, that's Palmer. But up to Talkeetna, when you're flying north, if you keep looking on the horizon, that's Denali. I could see the tallest mountain in North America right there. And it was really amazing. But at night, like there's no roads up there. Like it was just utter and complete darkness. Like it was like, dude, there is nothing out there. Yeah, so that's the Knik, Knik, K-N-I-K, that's the Knik Glacier. That valley up there was so beautiful. I didn't know that area very well. I was like, man, I'd really like to fly in there, but you see how the cloud ceilings blow? It was stable. Like if those clouds started to get lower, it's like I got to get back and.
Yeah, don't you run into wind currents that are come along all of a sudden that you're just like, whoa, what the hell's that?
Yeah, man, you learn a lot about the weather. You learn a lot about your airplane's abilities. Your abilities as a pilot. They call it personal minimums. But turbulence is interesting, dude. I know. Look at that stuff. That's planet Earth, man. That's actually on the planet. Turbulence is not wind. That's something you figured out. Turbulence is not wind because I was doing a night flight, going to go do some towered landings at Merrill Field because this was all general aviation G airspace where I was. So you're on the radio calling in your location because it's untowered. But if you're at a towered airport, which is what I'm going to be flying in Southern California, they tell you where to go. So it's kind of different. It's like you call in and they tell you where to go, as opposed to you're letting everyone in the air know, hey, I'm like, downwind for runway 34. Bleh. But you were asking me what's the hardest part about flying? It's definitely a judgment. It's a judgment call. Like you hear about people crashing airplanes, and very rarely is it a mechanical error. It's always a judgment call earlier. And that was a big reason I wanted to go fly in Alaska, because I was going to run into weather and terrain that is very serious. And you have to make a judgment call. And so you have to like plan ahead of time. You have to like check, you know, winds aloft, you know, because it's not the weather on the ground you're worried about. It's the weather up higher.
You sure look happy.
I'll tell you, Kevin, dude, I loved it, man. I loved it. Oh yeah, that's I got ForeFlight on this you know, little tablet thing with a GPS. When I fly commercially now, I use that thing so I can see what airways they're flying in. I can look out the window and be like, oh, what is that? Oh man, Victorville looks the same from the sky as it does from the ground. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome, because that's half the problem. They should have that when you're flying, so that you know
dude,
exactly what location you're flying over like that.
Yeah, it's like, but you know, I have it like right here. You know, I always have this thing with me right now.
I'll sit next to you on the plane then.
Yeah, dude, I'll show you stuff. It's interesting, man. It's like, it's totally changed the way I fly. Yeah, that's Audrey. She's from Connecticut. She did all her flight training down in Florida. She was great, man. She was so good. Like a good flight instructor does it. Like, and it happened a few times in Alaska where it's like, I'm like planning a flight, you know, doing my flight planning. And then it's like, oh, everything looks great, except at 6,000 feet over Talkeetna, there's 40-mile-an-hour gusts. There's 40 knot gusts. And it's like, I'm not going, you know, like we hit some turbulence. There's this called a mountain rollover turbulence, where it's like, if this is a mountain and the air's coming up this side, it's real smooth on this side. But when it comes over, it kind of like dumps like that. Sort of makes like an eddy in the water, you know. That's not wind, man. That's just turbulence. So you're flying, everything's fine, and then like, ugh.
Is it scary as hell once that starts?
I mean, dude, the airplane weighs like 1,700 pounds. Yeah. They're not heavy. Like, it's a small thing. Like a big jet doesn't matter.
Like a VW in the sky.
Yeah, dude. I guess I'm a big guy, like getting crammed into little spaces, apparently.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work though, too, right?
Notes, man. Oh, dude, it was. Well, yeah, you have to take a written test, the FAA knowledge test, they call it. And I didn't take that before I went up there. I feel like I was ill-advised. Oh yeah, I didn't have a car. I bought that pink bike on Facebook Marketplace for $30. So I was either flying an airplane or riding a bicycle. That was my mode of transportation for a month.
Look at that.
Next, I guess I need a boat next. Yeah.
And it must have just been beautiful. I can only imagine.
It was great, man. It was great. You sort of had to put up with a bunch of crazy, you know, right-wing conspiracy, anti-vax people, you know, like that was just like, you know, the place was right down the street from Sarah Palin's house. You know, they're all crazy. They're crazy, man. They're totally crazy. I did meet some wonderful people, and it wasn't all bad. See, that looked like Jurassic Park to me. I went through 5 seasons in about 2 weeks. When I first showed up, that mountain was all green. It looked like, you know, I'm in Hawaii or something. And then, you know, a week later, it just looked like the Himalayas. Like the whole thing is covered in ice and snow. It's like,
wow,
man.
You're just snapping these pictures as you're flying along.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's once you're up there and things are fine, there's no roads, you know, you look around, if there's no one around, you're not going to run into anything. Yeah. So I got a friend in LA, really cool guy. He owns a couple airplanes. His name's Eugene. Oh, this was great. In Alaska, this guy had a 56 Volkswagen, and that's a heater. That is an old heater add-on. Have you ever seen one of these, Kevin? You ever seen one of these heater things? It was, oh yeah. So you actually like primed the thing and hit a starter. That's a gas heater. That is a gas heater under the hood.
That's crazy.
Under the trunk and the hood. Yeah, and it pumps in heat like at your feet, you know, in the front. And it was at this wasn't a bar. It was kombucha place. It's kombucha place. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's my pilot's log, man. But I went in there and I found the guy who had the Volkswagen. I was like, who's got the oval outside? It's like, oh, that's this guy. So he showed me all of his stuff.
Let me show you my heater.
Yeah, there it is, man. There's the old pilot log. That shit's important.
And you got to have a Skinny Puppy hoodie to do your work.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Important.
It was great, man. And also the aviation community is really small. Like very few people have a pilot's license, very few. But I'm sure you know people who are pilots. You know,
I don't know anybody.
Really?
Nope.
Well,
I know you now.
I guess you do now.
Oh, the bike, $35.
$35, man. Yeah, I just left it at I just left it at my no-tell motel. Yeah, there's Palmer, Alaska. That's the day I got in. It was like.
So could you live in Alaska? You think?
No.
Too isolated?
Too isolated, too many crazy people. It's like, no.
But you're used to Montana.
Yeah, I'm used to Montana, but you know, I was in Montana for about a year and a half. You know, I got there, you know, I got the call that my dad was sick at the beginning of the pandemic. So I moved home and was his caretaker. Me and my brother both moved home, and it was a rough year, man. But being back in Montana for 18 months and during that election cycle, you know, and just all this crazy stuff, man. Yeah, it really broke my heart, actually. It really like broke my spirit. It's like, because I always looked at Montana through the eyes of a child, you know, and as spending enough time there as an adult, it's like, I've changed. Like this isn't a home for me anymore. It was really sad, actually.
You mean to say there's so much space there, but yet you can't seemingly ignore that facet of it?
Man, I'm affected by the world around me, I guess, because I was super isolated. I was just out on the farm, man. I was just isolated and just out on the farm, not doing, you know, like I lost a couple really, you know, I lost a couple friends, one in particular that I grew up with my whole life, that I've always known them, and they're just turned into like crazy fucking jerks, man. And it's just like, you know, it's like I don't have space for this in my life, you know. It's like that's why I have such a good life in LA. It's like I've got great friends, you know. It's like I do good work. I have good things going on, and it's because, you know, I have more self-respect than I used to, I guess, or I don't know. My life has expanded, you know. It's like have a lot of intention, you know. I have a lot of intention, and it's like
I think your posts that you do on your stories, each day that you do it, you'll always see that you enjoy life and you enjoy the little things about life. And I love the things that you post.
Thank you, Kevin.
Or like you would think that a musician is always doing musician things. No, you're quite commonly doing just the opposite.
Yeah, I'm doing all kinds of other stuff.
It's really interesting to see what you get up to half the time.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's amazing how many people watch my stories, because, you know, I don't like post things on Instagram or Facebook, like the pictures and stuff that stays, you know, like you hit me up earlier today. It's like, hey, I can't find any pictures of you flying. Can you send me some stuff? Yeah. You know, I'm so bad about that. I need like a manager or something, but I always post the stories, man. I just like how it's like more fluid. I don't know. I should probably post all of my pictures of everything I've ever done.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of good. You got to catch that story to see what you're.
Yeah. But I also like to be positive with my stories and things, because it's like, man, everyone's got their shit to deal with. And, you know, I really like to be outwardly positive, you know, and it's not always, you know, life is life. It's not always like that. But I don't spreading around bad vibes or anything like that. It's like, you know, after my dad tell a lot of people about it, it was just like, this was a thing that happened. I was very close to him, super traumatic for me. But I just, you know, I wasn't too outward about it. You know, I just like dealt with that with my family, as opposed to like, you know, like dragging everyone else through it. You know, it's like that's just not the way I like to live. So like,
Kevin,
yeah,
I think Sally asks, Matthew, ever catch yourself singing Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins when you're flying?
Absolutely. It is required to watch Top Gun if you're gonna go to flight school. Yeah, it's a yes. In a one-word answer, yes.
The thing is that, you know, if anything ever went wrong, you could probably fix it as the plane was flying. You've got all the angles covered.
Well, dude, those Volkswagen engines, you know, they're opposing, you know, air-cooled Volkswagen engines. Like they do a lot of, yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's my 57. That's a $300 engine I bought from some guy just so I could drive it around the farm. But what the hell do I have on the front there?
This is wonderful that you like have a shop up on the property there in Montana that you can.
Yeah,
you've got a couple of restorations going, don't you? But I mean, specifically, I want to talk about this VW.
Yeah, of course. We're in the 57 club, man. Yeah, that's my chassis. Man, he's
rebuilding the whole thing, you guys.
Every nut and bolt off of that thing.
He's rebuilding.
I took the splines out of the front. That's one of the dirtiest jobs I've ever done is replacing the splines. Yeah, there it is.
Look at it now.
Yeah, your specific seats. I have all the seats for that thing. I found out the seats are worth more than I paid for the whole car.
Yeah, that thing looks pretty good like that, though.
I paid $1,600 for the car, like $1,600. I had to go to the middle of Idaho somewhere, and it didn't have any fenders. I had to cut the front of the car off, and I had to go buy a new front end.
That's how much they sold for new, if you can believe it.
Is that how much they sold them for new?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, look at the body, though. You can't buy that for $1,600 now.
Probably not. Yeah, and this one's newer. So I've already grafted on. Yeah, I put in new heater channels, down at the bottom there, and I cut up. That's actually the front of a 56, but the 56 front clip and the 57 are the same. The 57 was the last year's the oval, as you know.
Yeah.
I love the way that car looks, especially the roof on it. I'm going to do a patina finish. I'm going to do kind of like an amber clear. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do like an amber clear coat on it. That's the one up in Alaska. That was the dude that had the heater. That was the day I got there. I couldn't believe up in Palmer, Alaska, I saw an oval Beetle.
You never see them.
I was like, what the hell, man? Yeah, you never see these things.
Really good shape, too.
Okay, so you know what? So you see that thing on below his back window? You see that little chrome metal thing? Yeah. You know what that is?
No.
So it's in Alaska. That is for skis. You put skis on that, and then they come down and like hold up against the bumper. Yeah, it's a ski rack, man. Yeah, that guy had some cool things.
That has the old patina on it too, like you're looking to do on
yours. Yeah. I'm looking for the patina. Yeah. Yeah, that's me trying to save space. Yeah, my chain hoist, man. I went into the ceiling and just.
You seem to know exactly like where to take it, though. I mean, if I ever got here, I'd just like stare at the thing and wonder what to do.
Well, there was a lot of that too, Kevin.
You know what to do, though.
Well, YouTube University, man. It's all YouTube University stuff.
That's incredible, though, Matt. I honestly don't know how you can.
Oh, you see. Yeah, if you look up on the wall, there's the old dash. If you need a dash off of a 57, there it is. If you need one, man, I got you, Kevin. I got you, Kevin. If you lose
stock radio, you come across a stock radio.
Ooh, I don't have a stock radio. Yeah, now you're getting all fancy on me, Kevin.
How long do you think this is going to take you to finish up?
Man, I don't know. I'm kind of like back in California now, and it's like, I'm going up there for the holidays. I think the worst of it is over, actually. Yeah, that's a spot welder thing, and you have a slide hammer on there to pull out these holes. There's this guy named Fitzy's Fabrication. He's up in Nova Scotia, Canada. I learned all my body work watching this guy. Just this Canadian guy. He's like, dude, you can learn everything on YouTube. It's insane, man. And then the really nice thing about body work, like, I'm a welder. I've done some like fabrication stuff, but metal is like a whole nother thing. You're going to burn holes in it. You're going to get it too hot. It's going to warp. You have to like do things right. And the thing about body work is that if you fuck something up, you can just do it again, or fix it. It's like, okay.
I think I ruined one of my first cars. I tried to do like this, and it didn't work out.
Yep. Yeah, so that was like a patch.
Worse after.
Yeah, that was like a patch that I cut out, and like I told you, I cut the front of the car off. I saved that, and then I'm making all my patches out of the front of the car. It's a total Frankenstein thing, So
you've got a 57 rear end with a 56 front end?
Yeah.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is a Frankenstein car then.
Oh yeah, dude. And the pan, I think the pan's not original to 57 either. I think that's 56. Yeah, I got it from this guy, Ernie Dixon. I don't know where I was. I was in the middle of Idaho somewhere. My brother went with me, and we went and got the thing. Yeah, so there's me making a little panel thing, and I listened to my little headphones. I listened to like a book on tape. I'm like
a book on tape. How about that?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm listening to like a podcast with Rick Rubin and Malcolm Gladwell called Broken Record. I listened to Broken Record. There's my car from high school. I'm like,
so this is another one that you built.
Yeah. So this was the Gateway drug, right? So that was my car in high school. It didn't look like that. That's my. It's a 76. Yeah, that was my car in high school and college. I think I texted you another picture just on Messenger after you opened up all these ones.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, Cyrus Rex just texted me. I'm watching you in the danger zone. But there's there it is. Yeah, so
this is what you just have to see here.
There's my mom.
How's she liking it?
She hates it. She hates it. It's too scary. Well, you know, like you have to hold the steering wheel because it's.
Dude, that's an album cover. If you do a solo album, this is your album cover.
God, I'm ugly. Jesus.
Back. No, you're not. You're a handsome man.
Look at that face. Yeah, I bought that engine in Billings, Montana from this guy named V-Wee's Volkswagens for $300. I was like, I bought my transmission from the guy to buy the transmission. He's like, I got a new transmission. It's really good. He gave me a great price on it. I was like, I need an engine too. I have 2 engines in LA that I'm going to rebuild. And he's like, yeah, I got an engine. It runs. I don't know how long, but it runs. I was like, okay, so that's what I got on there right now.
So you didn't bring it back to work with you in LA now that you're back here?
Yeah, not yet, man. I do have some garage space, and I'll have to figure it out. I got an old truck, like an old F-150, so I might drag it back. I gotta make some decisions, man. I gotta make a game plan, you know. We'll see. When did you get your car, man? When did you get your 57?
So I got mine in 1991.
Okay.
And it's been worked on and fully restored. First of all, the body and the drivetrain, and then the engine was redone by this guy, the classic old speed guy down here in Compton.
Okay.
And he's just he's just a legend, that guy. But yeah, these are my babies. I got like a 64 Lambretta and a 57 Volkswagen. I don't have any other car. And it's the oval, and that's my other scooter there.
Yeah. Man, that was so much fun riding around with you and Rihanna in your car a few months ago. Oh, that was great because I've spent so much time working on my car, but I'm bringing the car back to life. You know, it was in pieces when I bought it. You know, it's like I have spent a lot more time working on Volkswagens than I have actually driving them. So,
well, you're definitely. By the looks of it, becoming ever more qualified in every area, Matt. Like now, if my car ever breaks down, I'll be calling you up and be like, man, come
hey, you got a floor jack? Yeah. Why do you have a floor jack? It's like, yeah, Kevin. Why do you ask? It's like, well, I need you to come work on my car. It's like, okay, I'll be over.
Do you have a flatbed?
I don't. I have one of like the tow bar things, you know, you're like bolted on the front. You can tow it across the country. So I just use a tow bar.
Dude, Matthew, thanks so much for joining us today.
Nothing fancy.
Are we losing you?
Dude, Kevin, absolutely, man. I don't think so. I can hear you fine. Okay, yeah, can you hear me?
It phases in and out a couple of times, but it's good. Matthew, okay. Oh yeah, seriously, thanks for joining us here and letting us in on a little bit of your personal life. I find it incredibly exciting.
Absolutely, man. You know, it's just these things are so much fun because it's just hanging out. This is what we do anyway, you know. It's just someone turn on a camera, you know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Matthew, when we sit down and we work out like what we're gonna do next. So
absolutely, man.
Let's get together soon and we can figure out what that's gonna be.
I would love that, man. I hope you have a happy holiday.
Merry Christmas to you and to everybody here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Merry Christmas because I'm not going to see you until after Christmas.
Yeah, this is the last one you got for the year?
That's the last. Well, it's not the last one for the year. It's the last one for before Christmas. I got one coming up on the day after Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Cyrus Rex is on the side there. Cyrus, hey, big up.
Cyrus Rex, what's up? I'll see you in Montana, buddy.
Yeah, he's another half Montana. Yeah, Cyrus is in Montana right now.
He's up there right now. Yeah, he's like making a fire in the fireplace, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll we gotta all when we're all up there one day, we gotta all convene in some real Montana type place.
Oh yeah.
Gotta get the car going and everything. So
yes, I love it. We'll go to Yellowstone. We'll throw some hay bales. I'll put you guys to work.
Excellent. That sounds like fun. You're probably used to doing those hay bales and shit.
Awful. It's awful. But yes, I'm used to it, but it's awful.
Do you have horses?
We used to have horses. I don't have horses right now. My mom just got a couple miniature donkeys. They're like, yeah, they like come up to your waist. They're real short and they have these great big ears, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I would love that.
Oh, dude, they're super cute. You know, they come up and they follow you and they have this really soft velvety nose and they touch you like real softly with their nose. Yeah, they're super sweet and they follow you around. You walk around, they follow you and they look. You know, they like look at each other and then they look at what if you're in the garden or something. They're super cute, you know? It's like, yeah, we've had like peacocks and sheep and alpaca and a llama. We've had all kinds of,
nice.
We're just set up for it, you know? It's like, yeah. So my mom knows all these crazy people that have crazy animals.
I would always like to have a llama.
Dude, we had this llama named Monet that sold for $15,000. Her dad was named Dr. Doolittle from Switzerland. We had this like pedigree llama. Now, I don't know how close you watch the llama market, but the llama market crashed. Llamas used to be worth a whole lot of money and then it crashed. Okay. Yes, it's like the tulip market. So my mom got this pedigree llama for free. Okay. And so, yeah, we had this llama for like 10 years or more, you know, and it was Monet and had like these perfect ears. Like llamas, they have these ears that kind of go like, they look like bananas like this. That's how, you know, like, and we had all this crazy paperwork and the llama wasn't friendly. The llama didn't like anyone. Like, you know, like you could come up and brush the thing, but it didn't hang out with the horse. It didn't hang out with the dog. It didn't like anybody except the llama. And we had this feral cat that my mom was feeding. The llama and the cat were friends and they'd hang out all day together. It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing, man. Like they'd be like,
how old did the llama live to be?
Dude, llama lived to be in her 20s. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I think the llama lived a long time. I'd have to ask my mom, but we had that thing for a long time.
Wow, you need to get another one.
We had this alpaca that got out. If you have animals, they get out, you know, and then you're like on the neighbor's property, like way up in back of the house, you know. It's like it's just you and the state of Wyoming, you know, that's the only thing that's down there, you know. And so this alpaca was a real bastard. He would lay on his side and wiggle underneath the barbed wire fence and then run like hell. I mean, it would just like disappear over the fucking hills. Oh God!
How'd you get him back?
We couldn't. We had to call the neighbor, and he's a cowboy. He has like a horse with a.
Wow.
Yeah, and he went and just like lassoed the thing and dragged it back, you know.
That's hilarious.
There's this really funny story where this was like 20 years ago. It was my sister, my mom and dad, and my sister's ex-husband. They were married at the time. And, you know, he's kind of like a limp-wristed little bitch. And I wasn't there, but they like cornered alpaca, and the alpaca is like a small llama, you know, it's a big animal, and they cornered it, and they were gonna like catch it and like put the bridle on it, you know, and this alpaca looked at my sister, looked at my mom, looked at my dad, looked at my sister's at the time husband, and it was like, that's the one, and charged him and knocked him over and got away. Wow. It's like he knew. Oh God, dude, there's, you know, owning land there's always stuff going on, like fixing the fence or building stuff. Oh God, Kevin.
Matt, do you have a Santa outfit?
No, I don't think so. Why? Why'd you just find a pic? Oh, I did this music video with Timor where I wore like a spandex Santa onesie for this.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah. Why is it someone like blackmailing me with there's some really terrible.
You seem capable of building the sled, getting it to fly. All you need is the outfit.
Oh yeah, a black Santa. I'll have like a black Santa outfit. You know, yeah. It's all black and green, black with green fur.
You do make a great Santa.
Thank you, Kevin.
People, like you, next time you see Matthew on stage, please remember all these facets of his great personality. It's not just a gothic guitarist up there.
Yeah, right.
It's a well-rounded individual.
Oh yeah, you can't be stagnant, man. You can't be one-dimensional. You gotta like. you know.
It's so great that thank you for joining us here today and spilling the beans with us all.
Dude, Kevin, it's always good to talk to you, man. I'm very happy you asked me to do this. Touched, in fact. So thank you. And to the Skinny Puppy community, of course.
Yeah. Big up to Skinny Puppy community, Patreon community. We love you. Your community up there. Say hi to Dustin and say hi to the rest
will.
Of the up there.
Yeah, he had a baby, you know. He has a kid now.
Congratulations, Dustin.
Yeah, we're gonna go to him and his wife just bought a house too. Dustin's got stuff going on, so I'll definitely go say hi to him right now.
Okay.
I think we're all gonna go and then trash his new place.
Okay. Well, you guys have some fun.
Yeah, I will, man.
I'll see you soon.
All right.
Out.